But we will certainly experience times when our world will be shaken. Well, what about problems in our marriage? That doesn't mean there has to be, but that's the second point. In the United States, it said that even among Christians, I don't know what the percentage is today, but maybe 1 out of every 2 almost. It's a broken marriage. Now, how we need to pray for our homes and families. Satan wants to destroy our homes and families. Now, if you are married, even if you're not, you can write this down and read through it. But I encourage you to read 4 chapters in the Bible. Here they are. You want to write them down, maybe? Psalm 127. Psalm 127. And you're thinking about getting married, or you hope to be married someday, read them. Be good. Okay, Psalm 127. The second one is Psalm 128. 127, 128. And then go into the New Testament and read Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4. And then read Ephesians chapter 5. Psalm 127, Psalm 128, Ephesians 4, and Ephesians 5. Well, there was a Dr. William Barker who spoke about Lloyd's of London. Have you ever heard about Lloyd's of London? They're like an insurance company. They write underwriters insurance, and if you say, well, I have a valuable watch. Say you have a valuable watch, and you call up Lloyd's of London, England, and you say, I want you to insure this watch for 5 years. It costs you so much money. If something happens to the watch, maybe they'll replace it. Okay, now they've been around a long time. Originally, Lloyd's of London, they've been around many years. They insured ships and cargoes that were moving from one country to another across the water. Well, then they expanded. They've insured just about any imaginable emergency or possible accident. In other words, they insured some people who were involved in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Thousands of famous disasters. Well, the Titanic. They insured some people as far as the Titanic because they'd taken out insurance with them. Sometimes famous pianists. They insure their hands. If something happens to their hands, the policy would say they would collect so much money. Maybe even dancers' legs, or singers' voices, or actresses' face, or a farmer who is growing coffee beans. He might insure his farm about the coffee plants and products. Space flights, very risky adventures. But there's one thing they will not insure. Probably more than one, but at least I know this one. They do not insure a successful marriage. They'll insure a wedding. Did we tell you about our grandson Brett, who went to Chile this past December the 26th, and he got married? He married a Chilean. That's fine. Then he came back to America. He stopped his job, and he moved back in January to Chile. He was in the earthquake. They're okay, he and Elizabeth. But you know what happened to them when they went to... it was nice. They heard about this before the wedding date. They had a wedding date of December 26th. About in November, they heard that the lady who was making all the arrangements, and they had paid her money, they couldn't find her anymore. Can you imagine a bride and a groom and the wedding party showing up at a building, and they say, we're going to have a wedding. They say, no, you're not. Because we don't know anything about that. Happened to one family, to one couple. Can you imagine going, whoa, wow. That's what happened. It didn't happen to them. They lost their money, but they made other arrangements for about a month, and then they had their wedding. Well, Lloyd's of London. Well, sometimes they insure about the photographers are supposed to take certain pictures, the musicians are to sing or play. Each person, the details of it, they can cover it. But they will not insure a successful marriage. Now, what can guarantee a lifelong marriage? What can guarantee that? Well, a husband and a wife committed to God and to each other. Now, sadly, tragically, a number of marriages do not survive. But there are other kinds of earthquakes. Look at number 3, the loss of a child. I can't even begin to imagine that, the loss of a child. My. I can't say to someone if they've lost a child, I understand how you feel. I don't understand. Maybe a little bit. But the loss of a child. A number of people say that they can handle anything that life throws at them except seeing a child suffer. Oh my, it's dreadful. And yet, many fine people, even as Christians committed to Christ, have to deal with this earthquake. I think of a couple by the name, the husband's name is Calvin, and the wife's name is Connie. And Calvin is a funeral director. And one day we were riding to a funeral. The burial was out of the city at another town, and we were going there. And we were in conversation, I was with Calvin. And Calvin said he and his wife Connie are conducting seminars, they do, for parents who have lost a child to death. I said, that sounds very helpful and interesting. And I was amazing that statistics bear it out. That the death of a child can very easily drive a wedge between a husband and a wife, between a father and a mother. Now, I thought it would be the opposite. I thought the death of a child would bring them closer together. It can, but you have to be very careful on the deal, that the loss of a child can be so devastating. That can be an earthquake experience, can't it? Well, number 4, you'll see, there are many other emotional and spiritual earthquakes. Sometimes family relationships are like earthquakes. Problems with health. You may have the loss of a job, or the lack of a job can be an issue. It's tough. Or betrayal by a friend. Someone you thought was your friend and they betrayed you. It's like an earthquake. Things seem to be going along quite smoothly, and then the ground begins to move underneath your feet. Well, suddenly the whole world is violently shaken. Where do you go when such times come like this? You see number 5? People react in different ways when they feel the ground shaking. Some people just lose themselves in their work. Like you know about an alcoholic, but they may become a workaholic. Right? Just work more and more and more and more. Or put your energy into some recreation like golf or bowling or video games or computer and just spend hours and hours doing that.